Good afternoon. This is Bob Gorley with Jeff Hornberger, the retired warden of Clarion County Jail. And so thank you for watching this. I'm going to ask Jeff some, he was at Clarion County Jail in Pennsylvania from its opening in 1995 until his retirement in 2023. So he was overseeing operations for nearly 30 years in a small rural facility with an average population of 100 inmates. How did you first get involved in corrections work?
Well, after graduation of high school, I just like any other teenager, I joined the workforce, went into the factory work, and back then we'd get laid off quite a bit, so I wanted to find something a little bit more stable. So I looked at the corrections side of things and enjoy it, and just started working for corrections. It was a really, really good experience for me.
How did you become the warden?
Just through several years of hard work and dedication and loyalty to the county. I think that they seen some leadership skills, and they promoted me to warden in 2000.
The county hired you. You did not have to be elected or anything like that.
That is correct. When I started out as a part-time corrections officer, I went to the training academy in Elizabethtown, Pennsylvania, and then I furthered my education at Longmont, Colorado, and at the NIC, National Institute of Corrections program, for administration of jails.
Looking back, what are you most proud of accomplishing during your tenure?
I think with the county, I've worked with a lot of great department heads and officials and judges throughout the county. Probably the thing I'm most proud about is I would have to say 100% inspections for multiple years. We always had great inspections by the State Department of Inspection Services. And operating under budget was another big thing that we liked.
You've described the jail as running like a small town. Can you walk us through a typical day?
A typical day, as I always refer, all the inmates are, just like anybody else in the community, but we'd just get up, we'd have a regular routine of serving breakfast, getting med lines passed, and just going through your days, different trainings and programs for the inmates that was involved. So just a lot of activities to try to keep their minds occupied and keep everybody just occupied throughout the day.
Did you ever prepare the meals?
I never personally prepared the meals, but I ate there every day. We had a small kitchen staff that were a group of great ladies that always prepared meals. They were like a home-cooked meal, so that was one thing that we prided ourselves on at Clarion County as well.
How did you manage costs effectively, such as keeping medical and food expenses low?
The big thing is, you just have to shop around and get your best bang for your buck on almost everything. It takes everybody working together, from all the cooks to the correctional staff, to just everybody just pitching in, but we try to keep costs low by looking at innovative ways to save money for the county.
Did the inmates help do any of the work?
We had inmates do all kinds of work, yes. So they, many of them, if they were a trusted inmate, they would get jobs working in the kitchen or the laundry services. We had maintenance crews that worked inside the facility and kept it clean, kept it painted, and everything that you would like to do around your home area. But it was much larger scale, but we kept everybody involved.
Mental health and substance abuse are big issues in corrections. You mentioned nearly half of the inmates were on psychotropic medications at one point. How did the jail address those?
We leave that to the medical professionals, and we can't go against medical advice or anything. So just relying on the doctors and the small medical staff that we had at the jail. We did employ a full-time nurse there that was there 5 days a week, and it was we just tried to keep medical costs down, but still supplying all the inmates with the proper medications they were required.
During COVID, did everybody up there get COVID?
Yes. I mean, I wouldn't say everybody got COVID, but we had, it was a very touchy time. Nobody knew what was going to happen back in the COVID days. So, but yes, we had several cases of COVID inside the facility.
What the jail had unique challenges, so you had to suspend in-person visits.
Yes.
What was the toughest parts during that COVID? Like, what was it like up there when the COVID?
Well, that was the most trying time because inmates rely on seeing their family and friends outside. Come in for visitation. We did have to suspend all in-house visitations, but that's where we came up and we had a program that we utilized technology, and then we had video visitations. That's when we instilled video visitations throughout the jail, and the inmates were supplied with a tablet, and they could do video visits and see their loved ones live streaming, basically.
Staffing shortages and inmate transfers to other counties have been recent issues in Clarion County. Was that happening while you were there also?
Staffing's always been a major part of the facility. We've always had staffing issues, but we always worked through those, and we never had to house inmates outside of Clarion County when I was warden.
Security is always a concern. Can you share how the jail handled contraband smuggling?
That is a real hot topic in every jail because if there's a will, there's a way. Contraband will come into your facility. Like I said, if there's a will, there's a way. It has happened. Anytime that it did happen, we just had to look into the situation, and we had to come up with innovative ways to help keep that contraband outside of the facility.
What changes in corrections did you see over your career?
Technology is probably one of the biggest things that I've seen through my career. I mean, technology is always changing. Technology is a good thing when it's working. Sometimes when it's not working, it's very trying to the inmates and their family as well. So that's one thing I did once I retired from warden. I now work at a company where I'm in every prison in Pennsylvania and West Virginia that I manage several sites with technology where we instill the tablets and the telephone conversations with all inmates. So I'm still very active with the jails, but that's one of the biggest changes in the jails was technology.
If a guy claims that he's a woman, how did you handle that?
Fortunately, in a small county like Clarion County, we didn't have that happen a whole lot. We had some close calls, but you can't really house them in a particular area at that point in time, so we would have to segregate them in a unit where they didn't have, it was by themselves, so that they weren't with any gender, because with a transgender, it was just, that's something that I never really like to deal with, and fortunately we didn't have to deal with it in Clarion County a lot.
When you retired, have you missed it?
I do. I miss it quite often. I still reach out to a lot of the people that work there. Actually, I was just at the Clarion County Prison today working on some tablet issues and phone issues, so I still go up and see them, and yeah, I miss it. It's just like anywhere else you work, it's like you enjoy the compassionate companionship with all your fellow coworkers, and yeah, I miss that. And one of the other things I miss is helping people try to better themselves as far as an inmate, so that they don't come back.
Were there very many fights up there?
Quite a few fights, yeah. It was more than what I'd like to say.
besides fights, was there any like stabbings and stuff like that?
No stabbings, but nothing major like you see on the news or anything like that. But we had some interesting assaults on staff and other inmates as well.
How did you break up the fights?
Normally it's just show of force. You know, we always try to have a plan in place, but communication is always a big key. So when you go in there and try to de-escalate a situation, it's show of force and let them know that you're there for the protection of not only the inmates but everybody involved.
Did you taser them?
Yes, we have it in the past. Yes.
All right. What advice would you give to new wardens facing these constraints and that rising mental issues? You know, like, there's a lot of mental things up there now, isn't there?
The advice to new wardens is just, number one, remember your chain of command. You always have your prison board members that you can rely on for information, and your commissioners. So it's just remember where you came from, and just do the best you can. And it's a changing world out there in corrections, and I wish anybody good luck.
There's even talk about closing the jail. Does that make sense?
I've heard that. I know when I was there, it's one of those issues where I always thought, you have all the small rural counties. I think it would be a wise idea to look at regionalizing jails, maybe taking 3 counties and maybe you could share costs with different counties. That was one thought that always come up. I did suggest that many years ago, but it helps each county with their budgets as well.
Would they be combining them under the jail system, or would they be privatizing them?
I would never like to recommend private.
So it's
jails.
better if they're under government.
Yeah, like I have, like I said earlier, for the company I work for now, I control all the prisons in West Virginia with their technology, and they have regional jails down there, and they seem to work very well.
So technology, you're saying, is one of the best corrections for the jail system? Or what would you change if you had to change one thing in the correction system, either in Pennsylvania or nationally? How would you handle that?
If I had to change one thing in the correction system, it would be training. The staff have to rely on training, and the more training you can offer somebody, the more knowledge they receive, the better every facility can operate. So rely on your training and just really drive home the training and follow through with it.
Over the years, what's the most ridiculous or inventive way an inmate tried to smuggle contraband into the jail?
Back in the day, and I've seen them smuggle contraband in many different ways. Probably the most ingenious way I've ever seen. We used to take inmate would come in, they would get their we would give them uniforms, but they would their families were allowed to bring in their own undergarments, socks and underwear and different things. Well, the family member actually bought a new pair of underwear. They unsealed the bag and then they unstitched the underwear. They put an illegal substance in the waistband of the underwear, sewed the underwear back up, then resealed the package of the underwear to make it look like brand new, come off the shelf. But through technology, again, through phone conversations, we knew that contraband was coming in, and when that package did arrive, the family member brought it in and handed it over to us. We was able to collect that contraband and seize it right there on the spot. But they go to a lot of different resources, a lot of different avenues. They go out of their way to get that contraband in. But and that's just one of very, very many times the contraband was.
Have you ever used dogs?
We have had dogs come in once or just a handful of times, but we had to borrow them from neighboring counties. Back in the early 2000s, Clarion County did have their own drug dog that we utilized in there from time to time. But Clarion County does not have any drug dogs that I'm aware of right now.
You've got inmates helping in the kitchen and doing work programs. What's the funniest kitchen disaster or creative recipe that the inmates came up with?
You know, they really didn't prepare the food. They helped proportion it and serve it and different things of that nature. So the cooks mostly prepared it. So we knew what we was eating was safe. But a lot of the inmates, they do have innovative ways that they get their commissary, and they all share their commissary at times to make one big meal together. So they'll take, ramen noodles and cheese, and they'll wrap everything in a plastic bag and in a blanket, and they'll just mix it all up and make like a big goulash. And I've seen them do that a lot, and that's in the housing units themselves. But they had a name for what they call the recipe that they made, but I can't recall what the name was.
Any stories of inmates turning the jail into their own little economy, like trading items for, whatever, did anybody make money while they were in there?
This is going back probably 20 years ago. We had an inmate that was in there, and he was trying to run an undercover car ring from the telephone system.
A car ring?
He was selling used cars
Okay.
online. So he would use the telephone, and he would call his family members, and they would get titles somehow, and they would sell it online, and then the car would never show up. But, that happened many, many years ago, and after he did this for several weeks until it was caught on the intel on the phone system that he was actually arrested in Clarion County. And I forget the name of the inmate, not that I could give it out or anything. Yeah, he was actually given a state sentence for trying to sell illegal cars through the jailhouse.
All right. Running a jail like a small town sounds cozy, but what's the most absurd staff prank or inside joke that kept everybody sane during the tough shifts?
When you work together with a tight group of people like that, all the corrections officers are always trying to make fun of one another and do a lot of funny things. But I know one time, and it was many, many years ago, I wasn't even warden. I was working as a CO in the back. And if you remember the AM13, they used to have the trading post on there. I bought a new four-wheeler, and one of my buddies, they listed it on the trading post, and I was getting phone calls that people were wanting to buy my own four-wheeler that I did not want to sell. So yeah.
With in-house meals and low cost, did you ever have inmates begging for certain foods or complaining that the food was too good compared to the outside?
That's one thing Clarion County always prided themselves on, and I think they still do. All the inmates always said this is probably some inmates, they've been in many jails. And Clarion County, like I said, we had cooks there that made their meals like home-cooked meals, and the inmates really enjoyed the food there. And they said it was probably one of the best in the state. I can't say for the whole state, but I can say Clarion County does rank right up there with the best food out there, and at low costs.
Staffing shortages are no joke. But was there ever a time when a brand new correction officer showed up and had a hilarious rookie moment?
I've seen brand new corrections officers show up and work a half a shift and say they was going out for a break and never come back. Because it's totally different once those doors slam behind you and you're locked in for the day. You can't take your cell phone in or anything like that. So yeah, it's different. But
what's the silliest excuse an inmate ever gave for breaking a rule?
90% of the inmates in there will say they're not guilty. So they come up with every excuse in the book, but most of them would say why they weren't guilty.
You dealt with anything from drug court to COVID restrictions. Any funny moments you remember from the virtual visits that went wrong, or like family members forgetting to mute or unexpected guests popping up on screen?
No, I can't recall any. I mean, I've done some probably stupid things myself, but nothing I can think of that would really stand out for anybody. But yeah,
If you could go back and give your 1995 self one piece of humorous advice for becoming a warden, what would it be?
boy,
Like an example would be stock up with coffee or improve your patience or
it would definitely be improve my patience. That's for sure, because it takes a lot of patience to run a jail and manage all the staff. But one piece of advice would be, I don't know, maybe it would be, don't become warden and remain a corrections officer. I don't know. That might be it.
did anybody ever escape from a jail?
Yes.
How long until you got them back in?
Within 8 to 10 hours, we had him back in custody.
Did anybody ever try to dig a tunnel or anything like that?
No tunnels, nothing like that, no.
Well, I would like to thank you for coming in and sitting on this interview, and hit like for the podcast. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks a lot.